Okay, so let's say that we want to bring in some more footage. Maybe we want to swap between this particular track here and we want to go to a different piece of footage. So we go File, Import Media, back to gaming footage again, and let's grab some jet footage from Battlefield 3. Why the hell not, eh? Alright, so we got some 15.2 jet gameplay. As you can see here, I'm flying around in the jet. So we're going to reduce this down because we don't want the entire track here. And what we do is, oh, by the way, you use scroll wheel to enlarge and shrink your tracks. So we go and move this until it's flush with that track, and then we can extend it all the way up to this one, so we fill that gap. But as you can see here, if I play this, it very abruptly cuts out into this new track. The audio cuts out, and so does the actual video. So to make it a little bit smoother, if you put them all slightly to the side, and then drag this track in, just like you're reducing the track, but you drag it over this one, it should create a crossfade. If you click this little button up here, automatic crossfade, it should do this. And we want to do the same with the audio. I find 20 frames is a good amount. So there you see, it sort of fades into that footage. And that is actually what I do with my outro. So I'll drag this here, and I will drag it 20 frames so that it appears much more smoother. And I'll do the same here with the audio. We'll give that a fade in there. And we'll actually do it with the overlay on top here. So the whole thing as a whole will fade in. And then it will play out. And once it gets to the end of the track, that's it. The video just cuts out and it's done. Okay, so there we've got our little video project here. We would, of course, have audio here, you know, our entire project, whatever we wanted to talk about on this track. But we may need to change the levels a little bit, because you want your audio to be much louder than the gameplay. We have this recording going on, and all you need to do to stop it is hit enter. Explosions in the background, as you can hear there, are a little bit loud. They're kind of drowning out my voice. So if you come over to this audio track that the gameplay footage is set on, double click this one that says 0.0 decibels. I like to put this to minus 15. Sometimes I'll put it to minus 20, but if we have this recording going on, and all you need to do to stop it is hit enter. You can hear my voice much better over the gameplay, but you can still hear the gameplay in the background at the same time. Alright, so now we've got our outro, and we know how to split tracks, we know how to fade them in and out of one another, we know how to do crossfades, we know how to change our audio, and we know how to record. So how about putting graphics and other sort of bits of fluff into our video that, you know, well, it's wrong to call it fluff, actually. It sounds like a derogatory term. I mean, really, it's stuff that makes your video look a little bit more polished and a little bit more professional. So here I have my intro. I can't go into how to make an intro. I'm not great at it myself, to be honest, and I use a template for this one. I'm by no means a master of After Effects, so we'll go into that a little bit later. But a lot of other people actually ask people to make intros for them. So we want our intro to be at the start of the track, so we're going to hit D twice, select everything, and just move it up a little bit so it's out of the way there. And then we're going to take our intro here, and we're going to drag it down here. So there comes my intro, but you'll notice it's very quiet because the audio has automatically gone on the same track as our game audio. So what you want to do now is insert another audio track, drag the audio down there to that track, and I set this at -5. I find that it's not too loud but not too quiet. So there we go. Now you can hit D twice again, select everything, move it up to the intro. But now we're going to have the same problem as with the outro. So if you watch here, it just sort of randomly cuts into the gameplay. It doesn't smoothly transition. So what I actually do is I fade my intro out by 10 frames, and I fade in the gameplay by 10 frames. And after that 10th frame, right there, that is when I start speaking. That's when I start recording my audio. So you've got a nice project with an intro and an outro. How about putting some more graphics over the top? Some people will see that I put lower thirds in my video. Mine are okay, you know, they're not the best, but I don't know, they do it for me. So I will show you my little project here that I have. It's a Photoshop project called Lower Thirds. Well, I just imported the project by accident. My bad. Hold on, let me open it up here for you guys. Okay, so these are my lower thirds that I use. You know, this is one text layer here, so I can actually go here and for whatever video, I can change that. Okay, so I can delete that and I can put, you know, Jet Domination, spelt incorrectly, but who cares? And essentially what I'll do is create that, and then I will save it to the desktop. We'll close that down now. Once I've saved that project to the desktop, I go Import Media Desktop, and then I find those lower thirds, okay? These lower thirds I have here for the video you guys have probably already seen now. So what we actually do is create another video track, which is already up here because we created it before, and we want to drag this over the top. Let's make the project window a little bit bigger here so you guys can see this, hopefully. If you click the little minus here, you'll make all of your tracks smaller, so they won't take up as much screen real estate. Alright, there we go. Hopefully you guys can see that. So we have this recording going on. Let's just, yeah, let's get my audio. In fact, let's mute my audio out of the way there so it doesn't interrupt me again. But here you have this these lower thirds. Now, you might not want to have them this big or in this specific position on the screen. So in any video track, if you click this little button here, which is the pan and crop event, click on that, and mouse wheel here to zoom out a little bit. And if you go to one of the corners, you can actually make this, you know, bigger or smaller. So you might want to make it a little bit smaller, and you can actually drag it. So try and move this down here. Normally I would be doing this on 2 monitors, but for the purpose of this video, we'll have to do 1. So that's where I want it to be, you know, like I have my videos down there at the bottom. But once again, boom, it just sort of shoots in, you know. Now, there are more difficult transitions that you can use, so I actually have my transitions window open here. Once again, if it's not open, you can go to View and Transitions, and you can actually preview a lot of these. So if you look here at blinds, here we've got 3D cascades. There's all kinds of transitions. They're maybe not the most professional. A lot of people make their own transitions in After Effects or Photoshop. They look much better. Personally, I use this one here called Linear Wipe, and I use the diagonal one there with a soft edge, so it's not so blunt. So what you can do to apply a transition is just take whichever one you want and drag it down to the start or the end of a video track. So as you can see there, that little plus sign comes with some windows. The video event effects will pop up. You don't really need to worry about this too much. You can change some of these options and feather it a little bit more if you like. But, you know, if you're a beginner, don't worry too much about that. Now you'll see that it sort of transitions in there with this linear effect. Maybe it happened a little bit too fast, so we can actually go ahead here and extend the transition a little bit to make it longer. There we go. And we want it to roll out in the opposite direction, so we go find the bottom right diagonal soft edge one here, apply it to the end of the track, and now that will roll out. And maybe we want that to happen a little bit faster, so we'll put it down to 20 frames. Boom, and out it rolls. So that's really the basics of overlaying graphics on top of your video. You know, and you can use this, say if you're doing a Q&A and you want to put people's comments in the videos, you can screenshot those from YouTube. You can then make those smaller in Photoshop or even just Paint, and then put them in your videos as PNG files. Make sure they're PNGs. If you save them as JPEGs, this won't work. They'll have the entire background. So make sure you save it as a PNG. So yeah, there you have it, guys. That's pretty much the basics of Sony Vegas. For those of you using Adobe Premiere, that program is a little bit more complicated. I do believe it's actually somewhat better than Sony Vegas in terms of quality, but for being a beginner, I think Sony Vegas is a little bit more user-friendly. I actually know how to use both of these programs, but I do use Sony Vegas, and it does the job for me. At least you guys tell me that my videos look pretty good on the quality side of things, so I would recommend that for you too, but it's definitely not a bad idea to learn how to use both programs. Okay, so let me show you guys one thing, and something I really recommend doing, something that took me a long time to do, and that is making a template for your YouTube videos. So a lot of things in your videos will remain the same, and you'll have to do them every single video. So to save yourself some time, you know, I have a template that I keep on my desktop, so if we open this up, I can show you just what is inside there. Don't worry about that, that's just a missing file. Okay, so you can see here in my template, I have my intro set up here, I have the fade out on it set up, I have the audio for it already on a track with -5 decibels, so I don't have to sort of fanny about doing that. I also have my transition here, my lower thirds, set up with my specific crossover, like that, or rather transition, and the transition out there. So basically each time all I need to do is create this file in my Photoshop, name it the same thing, and Sony Vegas will automatically pick it up. Here is my outro, all on separate tracks, all faded out, or, you know, ready to sort of cross over with my tracks. So basically I have sort of half of the work done for me already. You may be wondering, by the way, on my outro here, what these two blue boxes are. These two tracks here will have thumbnails in them. So what I actually do is I go import media, I go channel thumbnails, let's just say like whatever, CSGO, this is an old thumbnail from a CSGO video I made some time ago, plop it on there, fade it in, 20 frames, just like the rest. And there you can see, now I get this thumbnail that pops up in that specific place. So this specific track here, you're going to see that the size for this track and the orientation is already set. And for a long time, I was doing all of this stuff every single video. What you want to do is find the things that you have to do every video, do those, create a template, and then use that template for the rest of your videos. Obviously, in some videos, you might change things. You might want to have a cinematic intro rather than your regular intro, but it's no problem to do that afterwards. All right, so let's just close this template down, and let's come back to our project that we made here. So you finish your project, you've got your audio recorded and everything, and now you want to render this. You want to finish the video and get it ready to be uploaded to YouTube. So how do you do that? Well, you come up here and there's a little sort of blue film reel icon that says render as. Alternatively, you can go file and click render as there. Click on that. And here it will ask you a number of things. First of all, it will ask you where you want to save it. So for me, I have a folder called Finished Projects. I then select my subfolder and save it. Let's just say we want to save it under Battlefield 4. Click Save. We want to call this Test because it's really just a test for me, but obviously you would call it whatever you want. Now, when it comes down to render options, this is the one I use here. It's Main Concept AVC AAC MP4 AVC in brackets there. So this will probably be closed. These are all subfolders here, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of them. So if you open that one up, I think the one I used as a template was Internet HD 1080p. What you want to do is click Customize Template here, and you can change some of the things. I would change Profile to Baseline. In fact, I'll show you here what I actually changed. So if we scroll down here, this is, I've called my template YouTube 1080p. Yes, I've changed profile to baseline, frame rate to 30 FPS. You guys can just pause the video right here, you know, bang in all those values, 50,000 maximum BPS and 40,000 average. I find that quality-wise this works quite well for me. I use render using CUDA, which is actually my graphics card. You might not want to do that. You might want to do CPU only if you don't have the best graphics card in the world, but this is what works for me. Audio-wise, I think this is default here. I'm not sure if I changed this, but you know, just copy these settings here, system, project, best, video rendering quality, bang all those in, and you should be good to go for 1080p. Now, if you want to do 4K, which is what I normally do for my videos, and it's this one here, I leave all the settings exactly the same. I think the only one I changed here is the width to 3200 and the height to 1800. Now, beware, when you do 4K, obviously you're stretching the video file because the video that I record is only 1080p. And, you know, I'm putting that image up to 4K and rendering it above what it was originally recorded in. So the result of that is that things are going to become a little bit blurred. So to counteract that, you want to put a sharpness filter on. So if you come here to Video Effects, you come down to Sharpen. This is the one I use here. This is a template that I've made, and I think, well, what you want to do here is you can just take the default sharpen effect and change it here. I'm going to take my one to show you guys the value. So you take that, you can either drag it on top of a video file or you can drag it on top of the entire track, which is what I do. I want to sharpen everything that is in my video. So I want the video track itself to be sharper. I also want all of my graphics to be sharper. So I'm going to go and I'm going to drag it on this track, close that, and I'm going to drag it on this track as well, and I'm going to close that down. Okay, so we come back to video preview here, things will be a little bit sharper, and if we click a little green thingy here, that is your video effects for your specific track, you can see I have a sharpen amount of 0.07. So if you've used the default one, I'll just remove this so I can show you guys if you're actually setting up with the default one. Take the default sharpen, drag it onto that track, and it would actually pop up there. And 0.5 is a bit much, so I use 0.07 there. So there you go, that's the sharpen slapped on there. You'll be ready to render your video. Ooh, before I forget, one last thing. Hit D twice, select all of your video tracks, not your audio tracks, just the video tracks. Come up here to edit, go down to switches, and click disable resample. That's something that will just make all of your scenes look choppy and blurry and absolutely terrible. I don't really know what purpose this thing serves, but I recommend always disabling it. And that's about it. You're good to go. You can click render, find your template. Did I actually mention how you save a template? I don't think I did. If you select the template that I talked about before, so you'd go internet, HD 1080p, customize template, you'd bang in all of those values, and then you can rename it. So you go to the top here, and, you know, just whatever, man, call it poo, you know, click save template, and then it will be saved under this subfolder here. So I'm not actually going to save that one, but if I would have saved it, it would have appeared at the bottom here as poo. So yeah, guys, that's about it. You click render, and we'll save our untitled video. There we go. The video just starts rendering. It will take time depending on the size of the video and all that kind of stuff. So there you go, guys. I think I've pretty much covered most of the basics when it comes to recording, rendering, editing videos, all that stuff. So hopefully you guys will understand a little bit of the basics about that. And if you're looking to get into YouTube, you know, making gaming videos, hopefully this video will help give you guys a kickstart. Maybe you're just watching this because you're curious how I do things. Hopefully this has answered some of your guys' questions. So thanks very much for watching. If you do have any questions about anything I went over in this video, feel free to leave your questions down below. I will reply to almost everyone. I read all my comments, so you know, you don't have to be worried that I won't reply to you. It may take me a couple of days if I'm busy at work or something like that. But, you know, you guys will just have to be patient. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.